Hi, everybody, and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode, we're going to talk about what's next for Karrion Kross Scarlett. Now, I do want to preface this with saying I fully believe that this is a work that they have been let to have their contract run out. I believe that another contract's either already been signed or has been a handshake agreement. But for the sakes of this video, we're going to talk about some potential landing spots for them if they're not coming back to WWE and what I think would be best for them. First up, let's go with the obvious, the one that everybody's going to assume, AEW. I think they would be a great fit for AEW. Now, I don't want this to be taken the wrong way because I do think that Karrion Kross is a great wrestler. I'm just not 100% sure he's with the AEW style. And that's okay to not be with the AEW style. He works what I would consider a main event style match. He works a very story-based, intelligent match. Not saying that AEW doesn't do that, just saying it's a little different. I do think that there is a lack of what I would consider upper card main event talent in AEW right now. I feel like Jon Moxley needs to take a few months off and freshen up and come back with a fresh character and get him away from the Death Riders and have him come back with something new. Not necessarily different, just new. Because I feel like he burned out a lot of his biggest fans during this last run with him as a champion. I think Hangman Page needs some serious contenders that he could build some wins up against. Chris Jericho, I believe, is on tour with Fozzy right now, and I don't know when he's planning to come back, but obviously if he does, he's going to be penciled right into that main event picture. It feels like Lashley is firmly entrenched in the tag team title picture right now. MJF kind of is tied in with that as well, with his thing with, is he part of the Hurt Business or Hurt Syndicate or is he not? Then you have the other potential main eventers like Darby Allin, who I don't think is necessarily going to go up against Hangman for the title. You got Swerve is always there. Again, I don't think that's something they want to do with both of them being a face. You got guys like Joe, who would easily be a nice little run. But bringing someone like Kross in, especially with the story that we've had with Hangman Page and his questioning himself through his whole AEW run, I think Karrion Kross would be a nice cog to fit into there. The thing that I would worry about is, I believe the closest avatar to Karrion Kross that we've had at AEW was Malachi Black. While I think Malachi Black was produced well and he had some great moments, I don't think we ever really seen him get to his full potential there. And I kind of feel like Kross might be the same, that he might get that same treatment. But it's always an option. Next up, this is the one I'd like to see him go do, but I don't think that he will, and that's New Japan Pro Wrestling. Much like I just said about AEW, and even more glaringly, there is a big hole in the main event talent in New Japan. They have struggled to fill the holes like Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Kazuchika Okada, and Jay White have left, and even Naito. Naito's gone now too, with Tanahashi retiring in the beginning of next year. They have some great up-and-coming talent like Tsuji and Narita and Uemura and that whole class, but I don't think, for the most part, I don't think that any of them are ready to make that jump into being a permanent main eventer. Tsuji's probably the closest of the bunch. So I do think someone like Karrion Kross coming in and being not necessarily a stopgap main eventer, but being someone that you could slot into that main event role, and even with the gimmick that he's using and he could tweak it a little bit, maybe he's the guy that gets Shota Umino to where he needs to be. We've seen they're trying to throw everything at the wall with Shota and make him a star, and he's got the potential. I really like Shota Umino. I just don't think that they found the perfect lane for him yet. Maybe Kross doing something like what he's done with Sami Zayn might be a good catalyst to bring him into the main event, whether as an ally for Kross or someone that tries to foil him after Kross, let's say, picks up the world title. I do think there's interesting matchups. I would love to see him versus Goto. I'd love to see him against Zack Sabre. I think they would be great matches. Even someone like Evil versus Karrion Kross, I think, would be a great matchup because I think what they could do storyline-wise would make that awesome. So I'd love to see him go there. I doubt that he is. And I don't think he's going to AEW either. Unless, they just throw shit tons of money at him, which get your bag if you're going to. And when I say Kross, I mean Kross and Scarlett together. They seem to be a package. I don't see them splitting at any time unless she just decides that she wants to retire. She's done with the business. but I digress. My most likely scenario, other than this being a work, would be that Kross goes to either of the two companies that are currently working with WWE, that being AAA, which is partially owned by TKO, or TNA, which has a working agreement with them. I think this would be a great place for him to keep his WWE connection there, maybe sign a 6-month or a year contract with either of these two, freshen up a bit. His run in TNA is where he really got to be what seemed to be a next big star type character, and I think going back there, going up against the likes of Joe Henry, or even being the guy that takes the title off of Trick Williams, I think that would be a great idea for him. AAA, again, another place where he's had massive success. I think Conan is a big fan from what I've heard. Conan is a big fan of his work, so I could easily see him being in the Mega Championship there. That might be the best bet for him if it's not a work. So, in my full opinion, I do think this is a work. Unfortunately, I think we're in the era where WWE is starting to understand how to play the dirt sheets and get rumors out there and get rumors going in both directions. There's been rumors that he re-signed. Obviously, today he said himself that he was on the last day of his contract. As I was setting up to come record this video, I seen that he was going to go live on YouTube, so I don't know what he said on his YouTube yet. And this might be all a moot point. If you watch that first, he might tell you where he's going. But anyway, I do believe since his contract ran out, he could pop up anywhere at any time for anybody, and that'd be interesting. I do think it's a workity work. I believe much like the Seth Rollins injury, I think they're playing with the dirt sheet writers, getting that information out there to build more of a buzz for him and bring him back in a more prominent role. Just my opinion. I could be totally wrong. But anyway, let me know what you think. Where would you like to see Kross and Scarlett go next? Put it down here in the comments. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff that everybody tells you to do. With that being said, my name is George Coles, and you've been watching Heel Heat.